the biggest return I can see, Dr. Nicole, is the community that I've been missing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, when you are so used to doing and not being, it was also a light bulb. You know, not a bright light, but kind of a rosy amber color, soft light. You know, just you meet a group of women and you don't know them. And you say, how are you? I'm like, same as you. And you know what they mean and they know what I mean. Same as you. Oh, yeah.
Welcome to another delightful and delicious episode of Yummy Podcast, where we savor life's inspiring stories and go on a quest to help you find your ultimate, most meaningful yet. I'm your co-host, Crystal Khalil.
And I'm Dr. Nicole LaBeach. And today we have the amazing, wonderful,
Shine bright like a diamond.
shine bright like a diamond, attorney, entrepreneur,
Politician.
wife,
Friend.
sister,
Diamond.
sister, diamond. Go on and tell them who we got with us, sis, so we can share.
Attorney Saundra Davis.
Hello. Hello. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
It is such a blessing to see you in your element and then to see you here with us having this conversation.
Yeah.
It just makes us feel all kind of proud. Now, you've done this before, but we're trying to make this a ritual that everybody that comes on the Yummy Podcast gets to do this. So put your hand in front of your face.
Oh, okay.
And shake it, wiggle, 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 and take the mask off and put it in your lap.
Mine has a little super glue and sprinkles
Right, so then let's do it again.
Sprinkles on it too.
Wiggle,
Hold on.
wiggle, wiggle.
Okay.
Yes.
We want your soul to have permission to speak.
Does your soul have permission to speak?
I'm granting my soul permission to speak.
Yes.
I love that. She understands the assignment.
The vulnerability of it all.
Yeah, we love that.
So one of the things that we talk about in this yummy community, yummy conversation is the power of going after your yes. Tell us what that looks like for you now. Like, what stops your yes and what helps you to go after it full steam, not receiving anything less than what you desire for that outcome.
You know, that's interesting, Dr. Nicole and Crystal, because I have so many yeses. I tell people, if I think about it, I at least try and do it once. My main yes right now, I was just thinking back and reflecting, is my law firm. And I've been practicing almost 30 years. That's over half my life.
That's amazing.
So, and in 2025 will be 20 years in solo practice.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So that's a lot of juggling. But my yes is, in terms of the law firm, is giving independence and a voice back to my clients.
Love that.
Yeah.
Now, Sandra, I know the answer to this, but I want you to share this with our listeners and our viewers.
Okay.
What made you start your own law firm and how did you do it?
Yeah, because we were blown away when we found this out.
Yeah, that's an interesting story. Well, I started as a public defender. I'm the first and only lawyer in my family.
Okay.
So I didn't have personal knowledge and, you know, the notes and everything to get through law school, and kind of negotiated how to do that. And in my third year, I was working as a public defender during law school. And I had a mentor who said, you know, you're too good. You should go to New York. And I just never felt connected to New York. But I saw a terrible attorney. I'm sitting back with my 14 cases for that day, and he had one case. got a terrible deal, and was called ahead of me because he was in private practice. I said, he just made my whole 2-week check on one case.
Wow.
I can do that. But who am I going to talk to? I read a book. The book, I don't know the author, was called How to Start and Run Your Law Firm Without Missing a Meal. Now that spoke to me because I like to eat. I didn't want to be hungry. I didn't want to be hungry. And you know what? I never missed a meal.
And you started your own law firm after reading a book.
Yeah. Just read a book. And then I did some informational interviews. So I knew someone who owned a building and was leasing space. I was like, well, but where do you get your clients from? I mean, you don't even know what you don't know. Yeah. Where do you need insurance? Do you have to advertise? I just didn't know anything. So with the book and then the personal and informational interviews, January 1st, 1996 is when I started my firm in Minneapolis.
Wow.
Now, that's why I ask about your yes, because so many people, they think of things that they want to do. And the minute they realize they don't know how to do it, that stops the conversation. They think that their permission to stop is having to seek more information. So they're like, if I've got to go beyond what I know right in this moment, maybe that's not for me. What made you say, I want to do this, and I believe a book, what it's given me, is enough for me to try?
You know what? I grew up in Detroit. I moved around the Midwest, and we always had a set of encyclopedias. So just thinking, when you keep saying book, I just had a vision. We would ask a question, and my parents would say, go look it up in the encyclopedia.
Right.
Oh, you remember when every household had this set of encyclopedias,
and they were paying on it monthly?
Girl, yes. The man used to come to the house.
To the door.
All of the above.
And now everybody has Google.
But I'm like, but how can I look it up if I don't know how to spell it? You better sound it out or something.
Yes.
Yeah. So I've just always had that figure it out mentality. I think Detroit makes hustlers, polished hustlers. And so I just always feel like you get as much as you hustle for. I never felt like people were just going to give me things. Yeah. So book was the first place to start. We didn't have Google and things. So yeah, I read a book.
Wow.
Were you ever afraid that you still didn't know enough to make it successful? And how did you deal with that?
Yes. It came with a lot of tears. It came with funny moments too. I remember, people were out celebrating New Year's Eve, and I was painting my office space, and I had one of those kind of bebop hats, the black. Loved them. That was my thing. But I apparently bent down to paint, and I have a white spot on that hat that just reminds me of what I was doing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Starting my yes. But getting past discouraging moments, the main thing is I don't think I could work for somebody else. Now that just honestly gets me.
Talk to us about that.
It gets me out of bed because interviewing, which I'm doing now as a business owner.
Yeah.
But being the interviewee and somebody else's rules versus I want to make the rules. I've had bosses that I didn't like. I don't want to be that boss. So to make a business something that I would like and a place that I would like to work and people that I would like to work with, the power's in me. So I just constantly learning though.
Yeah.
CLEs, non-continuing legal education, networking. I kind of stepped back for a few years. Yeah. And, but it's always self-development. Right now I'm happy to have business coaching and personal coaching.
Yes.
So that's what I'm doing for myself to keep the yeses.
So let's talk to our listeners and viewers who are on this entrepreneurial journey, right? You talked about there have been some challenges. It's not today you have a lot of yeses, but it's been some challenges, and I'm sure you've had some no's. What has the growth process looked like? You even talked about you're painting the walls on your new business, right? You probably were doing everything at first. What has this growth process looked like?
You know, I don't think you recognize growth until you look back at where you've been. Because I'm such a person that I'm looking ahead and I'm working on this right now. And I need to give myself credit for what I've already done. And I remember crying at people's kitchen tables, and every December it just seems so slow. And then you say, well, there's a pattern. So now you're going to have to recognize things, because I didn't take business courses, marketing. I'm like, what am I doing running a business? Great lawyer, average business person. So you have to start figuring out business terminology and just making it happen. Yeah.
And you know, on the business side of things, you can find ways to elevate your skill. Make sure you have as much knowledge as possible, and really do your best to cultivate some of the things that are not really working for you. On the personal side of things, what does your yes look like for you personally as a businesswoman at this point in your life?
You know, I am redefining some things. Just having met with my business coach, it was like, I need a more specific vision. And I need it for the firm, and I need it for myself. So to me, even incorporating, I will say, meditation, probably over the past couple of years, that's been big. Just to stop and realize you're getting stressed or overworked. So taking time for myself has been a big part of the personal development. So just doing more personal things intentionally. You know, schedule your priorities instead of living by the schedule. Schedule the priorities and making myself a priority.
So you know, YUMMY is an acronym for your ultimate most meaningful yet. So we do a lot of good things as the brilliant one, right? Brilliant caretakers. We do a lot of great things, but what is your ultimate most meaningful yet? What does the YUMMY mean to you?
So sis, as you're talking about a free mindset, you know, it's opportunity for swag. YUMMY
check.
swag. Our shirts today say free women.
Free women.
You get it?
Free women. Free women.
I'm just putting that out there. Carry on. Continue.
You can get your free women t-shirt at crystalanddrnicole.com, or you can check the show notes below to find the link.
You know, I just recently started a foundation, and when I look at what brings me fulfillment and joy, it's really in the giving. I don't want to be a random giver, though, or just a giver for no reason. It has to really speak to me. So I'm finding that I have the foundation. So again, I'm building the foundation and the framework, and then I'll reach the pinnacle of what the actual yes is. I think it's in development.
It's in development.
Do you feel like at this point in your life, you have a sense of true self-acceptance? You've done so much. You've had a lot of yeses. What does it look like now to say yes to yourself?
That's a new chapter. It's a new journey. But recognizing that it needs to happen is where I pat myself on the back. Because I can just go and go. And what's the purpose? What do I want? So there's just some self-reflection that I'm doing. You know, being more involved in my nieces and nephews' lives. They love Aunt Sandra. You know, they love Aunt Sandra, but I want to be more intentional, even with my goddaughters, because I don't have children. And I have a lot of knowledge. They could be doing a lot of things with these kids. I used to have to write an essay like why I can't get up in a good mood in the morning.
Wow.
Why? 200 words before I get home.
This is your parents?
My parents. Yeah.
Wow.
Why can't, I was like, well, I do get up in a good mood in the morning. I can't stay in a good mood in the morning because of two reasons. brother and sister. And I was like, my mother was like, oh Lord, it's the beginning of a lawyer.
Wow.
Yeah, this is like middle school.
You already negotiated.
Apparently. But I'm looking forward to my personal journey, just setting some things around me, even in terms of environment, as opposed to, it's good enough, or that curtain looks good because it's already up. Do I like that color? Is that my style? I have not thought about things like that. I don't. Now, people come in and they can just move it and arrange it. And I'm like, hey, that does look better.
Wow. That's pretty powerful, because we were having a conversation just the other day about this same thing. And the person we were speaking to said, I don't know how I like my eggs.
Right.
I don't know how I like my eggs, because I'm always preparing eggs for everybody else the way they like them.
Yeah.
I don't know how I like my eggs.
Yeah.
And giving yourself permission to be the first to decide what is and what isn't is more underrepresented than we might think.
Yeah.
We don't recognize that often a lot of the things we value is because of what we were taught to value, because what we saw in other people. And a lot of the things that we like, we may have inherited somebody else's like.
Yeah.
And it's not that we really like it, it's what we know.
And even a step further is, it's what I know, and it's how I can not go backwards and keep going. So I don't know if I like it, but I know it's not broken. So I can stand on this and then maybe use that to get to the next step. But I don't know if I even enjoyed this step.
It's familiar.
Or if I like it. Familiar, yes.
But not always comfortable.
Yeah.
It's familiar, but not always comfortable.
But it's like when I pledged. One of the phenomenal sororities, not represented by my colors today.
Yes.
Thank y'all for representing. But I didn't know anybody who pledged. I had an older aunt who sponsored me. And I just said, well, I've never seen anybody die, and it can't last forever. And that's literally how I approach things.
Wow. So when you think about the possibility of being the first to say yes to yourself, not just letting the curtains hang because that's what was there, and it's not bothering anybody, so maybe we should just leave well enough alone. What is pushing you now to say good is fine, but it's not great, and great is cool, but it's not yummy? What is pushing you now to say, I want more, and I feel like I'm being called to more?
Delicately, I will say graceful aging. It's like, get it now. Get it while you're healthy. Get it while you can run and maybe not drop it like it's hot like you used to. But how they say, you have to be able to enjoy what you're doing. So, while you're working so hard, and then I just said, why am I working so hard towards what?
Right.
Am I going to get to the next decade? And then I have the money to do it, but I don't have the physical ability or, the way I can get there, but I won't enjoy it.
Right.
So I really just have a lot of experiences, kind of a bucket list that's been a list.
Well, you talked about doing some personal and professional development and investing in yourself.
Yes.
Business coaching, personal coaching. At what point in your life did you realize that was necessary? If you're a high-achieving woman and you're listening to this, people around you probably think you have everything you need or desire.
But Crystal and I both know you've realized there's more, and you've been called to more. We base our programs and framework around helping women like you find their limitless selves, providing a space, a safe space for them to break through ceilings and remove the walls that limit experiencing the life they truly desire.
Join us for our Woman Unlimited Live. Check out the link below. You'll find coaching, community, and connection you've been looking for. See you there.
Now back to this yummy episode.
Again, it was coming with age, and it's funny, I was watching a comedian and she said she went to the doctor and it had that age range, this to this, and that age range, this to that. Then the next one was like other, or the next, she was like, am I that? When did I get to that? And I was like, I'm that too. And so it's like aging without children, you don't really realize my age is my age. You know, so again, it's just wanting to enjoy what I can while I can, and deciding what it is and taking it off the shelf.
What has that investment done for you? What has been the return?
Structure. Structure. You know, I just said, I'm a good attorney. I have a good firm. I have good staff, but I still have energy. So let's see what it would be like to kick ass for the next 10 years.
Right.
That was what prompted me to get the business coaching. I didn't know what a KPI was. You know, just you do it or you don't do it, or somebody else has to do it. Just the structure was missing.
Yeah.
So it's pretty interesting to do that in the business sense. I think staff has appreciated it.
Yeah.
It's allowing us to bring people in as opposed to, you know, personally, I can do it, I can just do it, versus no, here's a process on, you do it. So now you can take a week off and I'll just show them the process.
Right.
How
about
Building
that?
a team, collaborating.
Exactly.
How does that get mirrored on the personal side of things? What has been your return on investment, investing in yourself personally?
The biggest return I can see, Dr. Nicole, is the community that I've been missing.
Yeah.
Because, you know, when you are so used to doing and not being, it was also a light bulb. You know, not a bright light, but kind of a rosy amber color, soft light. You know, just you meet a group of women and you don't know them. And you say, how are you? I'm like, same as you. And you know what they mean, and they know what I mean. Same as you. Oh, yeah.
Tired.
A little overwhelmed.
Yeah. But just having a genuine community of people that you can reach out to without judgment and gossip and be vulnerable. That's not me.
Ooh. What has that journey of vulnerability been like for you?
Rocky. It's not smooth. It's not smooth. I feel this mask creeping up my arm trying to come back. I took it off, but it's moving. It's fluid.
Yes. Right.
Yeah, it's been rocky. And you know, it's not I'm not vulnerable with everybody. There's some people I still need to be vulnerable with. That I'm deciding how or if I want to.
How have you done it with those that you're like, I was able to achieve that and I'm still holding the space for that with this person? Have you been able to be vulnerable with them?
Just looking at examples of doing it elsewhere. And that was probably setting boundaries is the first thing. Just setting a boundary and then speaking my truth. And the world didn't collapse.
That part.
That's huge.
Yeah. And then you see a change the next day, or they considered it the next time. So if that's my wow moment and my pathway to vulnerability, that's how I have to approach it.
I think one of the most profound things I learned about boundaries is that a lot of times we think boundaries are to keep us out of relationship with people. Like, you can't cross this boundary, right? So it has a negative connotation.
Yes.
Right.
When in actuality, boundaries are to create healthy relationships.
Absolutely.
They are the instructions for us to have a healthy relationship, right? So this is what I need to be the best person that I can be in this relationship. Not, you can't come over here doing this, and here's my boundaries, and you stay on that side. And when you see it as instructions for a healthy relationship,
Yeah.
that's a game changer.
Yeah.
Guidelines. You know, people love to do what they feel they're successful at and can be successful at. And we don't realize when we don't give people boundaries, they also have no guide as to how to be successful in the relationship with us.
Right.
So they do a lot of things that often we're saying, now, why would you do that?
Right.
Why wouldn't you consider me from this perspective? And why would you think that was okay? And they're like, well, I didn't have any reason not to think that it was okay. I didn't have any instruction. So I went 55. In your mind, you made this a 25-mile-an-hour zone, but you didn't communicate that with me.
Right.
Yeah.
So I just moved at the pace that I believed was normal because you didn't give me any instruction for me to be able to say, oh, wow, this is 25 and I need to respect that and move accordingly.
Yeah, that's fair. And that's a good analogy. I was just thinking how I learned KPIs. You just have to lay out the expectations and then go back and measure them.
Key performance indicators.
Yes, key performance indicators.
Yeah.
I call it known performance. I just had no idea what KPI was. I was like, is the K known? Because you know it.
Right. No, you know, I did procurement for almost 30 years, procurement and supply chain. And in order for us to have a good contract in place with a supplier, we needed to have KPIs and metrics. Like, how can you say this isn't working if you have nothing to measure it by? So when our internal clients would come to us and say, this supplier is not working out, like, okay, so what are they doing or not doing? And you know, that does not match what the KPIs are in the agreement. Right. Yeah. Because you've got to be able to sit down with people and have a standard.
Yes.
If there's no standard or there's no measurement of this is what success looks like, then there's no guidelines, there's no structure. And how can I hold you accountable if we don't have that metric in place? So it's so profound. We use that in business, but it also works in relationship where, and Dr. Nicole and I say this all the time, the same tools you use in business, you can use in relationship. If people don't understand what success looks like in relationship with you, then how can you hold them accountable when they miss the mark?
Right.
And that's often the issue, right? So plausible deniability, I think it was in the Reagan era, that was a conversation where it was, I don't know, therefore I cannot be held responsible. Well, in relationships, you ask people, what do you know? I know that I love them. I love him. What do you know? I love her. If that's all you know, there need to be some bullets behind that as to, do you have the same standard? So that if for any reason we go against that standard, that's really the definition of a problem. Problem is a deviation from the standard. But if we don't even know what our standard is, the problem pops up and we're like, we can't believe this is happening.
Oh, and you know, and you're an attorney, Sandra, so you know this. There's also in contracts a little thing called notice of cure, right? A time to cure. So if you are violating the agreement or you're not performing, then I have to give you time to try and fix it. And we don't always do that in relationship. It's like, look, you messed up and I'm done with you, right? We don't have that. We don't sit down and have a conversation about what I need. And how many of you, our listeners, our viewers, are estranged from people that you may even love, family members, friends, people that you were in close relationship with, because they breached the agreement some kind of way. And you may not have even communicated to them that they breached it. You just cut them off. Or you communicated and they just didn't respond the way you wanted them to, and you cut them off. We have negotiated agreements in relationship with everybody that we are in connection with. It may not be written.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even if we don't think we negotiated it.
Yeah.
We negotiated it.
Yeah. It's unspoken, unwritten agreements that says, I'm not going to hurt you and you're not going to hurt me. But what are those bullet points?
Right.
What are the terms of our agreement? And how will I inform you when you breach that? Do I need to give you a written notice? Do I need to send you an email? Do we need to sit down over coffee or tea?
Right.
And do I have to give you a notice to cure and fix it? Is that the respect we have between one another?
Yeah.
It is so powerful. Dr. Nicole and I being partners, we've learned this firsthand, right? Because we're not perfect.
Right.
We are not perfect people. So there have been times when I may have done something that rubbed her wrong, or she may have done something that rubbed me wrong. And we're like, okay, that's not the negotiated agreement that we have.
Right.
So respectfully, we're like, we're not going to let the enemy toy with us in silence with this. We bring it to the table.
Not the mat.
Not the mat. The table.
Not the mat.
Not the mat.
There's a difference.
When you bring it to the
table.
mat is when you're trying to beat people down, cut them off at the knees, and you win.
Right.
But if you're winning on those terms, everybody loses.
Everybody
So you
loses.
got to bring it to the table so we can talk about it and figure it out.
And then the people that love you, the people that want to remain in connection with you, then have an opportunity to notice the cure, right? They have an opportunity to say, you know what? That's not the experience I wanted you to have. That's not what I meant. I'm sorry. Or I was having a bad day. And I didn't mean it that way, right?
Right.
Forgive me. I was doing too much at that moment and I didn't see you. I didn't hear you. So can I have another chance?
Yeah. That would be nice in the ideal world. But it's nice to have the intro on that's not what we negotiated.
Yeah.
Because that opens the door to what happened.
And we create ideal based on getting tools to be able to co-create the relationship we want versus co-create the relationship we don't want.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So, Sandra, we want to ask you, we've talked a lot about the yummy. You know about this whole yummy life conversation. And you've invested in your personal development and professional development at this point. What is the yummy that awaits you? What do you think is ahead? Your ultimate, most meaningful yet?
Just freedom. Freedom. It's a light feeling. It's more of a feeling than a destination. I think it's just feeling the journey, because I can be numb and ignore it. And like I said, it's not broken, stair-stepping on it, keep it moving. But that's not what I want. Maybe I don't know exactly everything I want, but I want to feel it along the way. Because now you can say, that's not it.
Yes.
I used to be a really feeling person. And I think maybe because the business has been so much a part of my life, and it's not a bad thing. I wouldn't give it up.
Right.
But I'm bringing in running the business, being a lawyer, and personal enjoyment.
Yeah.
So it's not just work life, because then life happens when you're not at work, but I want to enjoy it. So that's the third prong that I'm focusing on and being conscious about.
Love it. Love it. Thank you so much, Sandra, for just being on the journey with us and giving us the opportunity to have this yummy conversation.
It is yummy.
Yes.
It is yummy. It's
Can
wonderful.
you tell us, Sandra, what is the name of your law firm and how can our viewers and listeners find you?
Yeah. The name of my law firm is Saundra M. Davis, PC. I have 3 offices, 2 in Gwinnett, 1 is in Snellville, 1 is in Lawrenceville, and I have 1 in Midtown Atlanta. My phone number is 770-934-3668. And you can also look me up at # Your Auto Accident Attorney.
your hashtag your auto accident attorney. Thank you, Sandra. This has been another amazing episode of Yummy Podcast. Have a great day, everybody.
Bye, everybody.